What's up, guys? Moon here, Keith, and Tim here for well, I don't know what episode this is actually, but I'm here for another episode of Seduce Me, and we just exited the room that we woke up in after we found these guys on the floor. We got carried downstairs by Damien, and then we chatted with Matthew, and he gave us this weird doll that looked like a bunny with a cleaver, and then we explained why we live in the house alone, and why and how we got the house to James, and now we're speaking to Eric, and we're sitting down for dinner to eat. So he said, Let me get your chair for you, lovely lady." Oh, Eric was very charming, and his smile pulled at my heart. The way he kept flirting with me definitely designated him as a charmer of the demons. Yet there was a little distance in his eyes.
By the way, I apologize for my behavior earlier. Stealing your second kiss like that.
Oh yeah, when I didn't believe that they were incubi. It's fine. I guess it's fine. I mean, you didn't just get up and grab a kiss for no reason.
I'm not as forward, unlike Sam.
Suddenly, Eric leaned and whispered in my ear.
I won't lie though. I enjoyed kissing you and feeling you melt in my arms.
That's so fucking creepy. I can't handle that. Oh, I can't handle that. That's weird. That's weird. I was torn between smacking him and trying to play it cool. Be cool. You sure are quite the charmer. I don't mean that cool. I didn't like it.
I am known for that.
As much as I do appreciate the constant compliments, you don't have to keep talking to me like that.
Like what?
He batted his eyelids as if he had no idea what I was talking about, and I couldn't help but laugh. Well, like you're trying to get into my pants half the time.
I can assure you, I'm just a lover of beautiful women.
Something tells me that there's more to it than that. For a moment, he looked away, losing a bit of his smile. Before I could question it, though, he turned back to me with a new teasing smile.
Did you want there to be more?
I didn't want to hit him, but I didn't know how to react, so I couldn't look at him. He merely chuckled again in my ear.
Sorry. You just look so cute when you're blushing.
I felt my face heat up simply from his words. I then felt Eric take my hand and kiss it gently.
I hope you'll enjoy dinner, however, my dear.
I drew my attention back to the dishes. I was both intrigued and slightly scared by the amount of food they made. Seeing my expression, Eric leaned forward and proudly smiled, gesturing to all of the dishes with a dramatic sweep of his arm.
I made almost all of the dishes myself.
Humorously enough, Matthew looked at him with a shocked expression, as if he was betrayed. His face changed instantly to that of a frown.
And I'm the Queen of the Nile.
What's that supposed to mean?
Me, you, and James did the work together, dummy.
Dummy, you big
It's
fat
you,
dummy.
James, and I, Matthew.
Little boys will always make mistakes.
Matthew looked at James in disbelief, probably for siding with Eric, and he annoyedly swiveled back to Eric to comfort him.
I'm not a little boy. I'm barely a year younger than you.
Well, you certainly don't act like it.
I really couldn't help but laugh. Matthew seemed very much like a kid. He was adorable. However, I couldn't help but feel like in a way he was much more mature than the others, especially Eric.
Huh? Is something funny?
No, it's nothing at all. Thank you for the meal, all of you.
Oh, you're welcome, miss.
Such a well-mannered young lady. Beautiful inside and out.
Eric, knock it off.
In agreement with Matthew, Sam cocked up his head and glared at Eric.
Seriously, you're getting really annoying with that suck-up act.
It was obvious that Sam was the bad boy of the group. He had this big tough act, and it was obvious he was physically stronger than the rest of the guys. But was there more to him than that?
I'm just trying to be a gentleman. The young girl has already gone through so much. She deserves a good treatment.
There's a difference between being a gentleman and being an obnoxious flirt.
Schooled even by James. You're gonna need some cold water for that burn.
By the way, I don't believe we caught your name even though you know each of us.
I'm Isabel.
It's a pleasure to finally know your name.
Yeah, that's a nice name.
Yeah, I made it myself. They were all comfortable around me, despite the awkward situation we were in. It was as if it were natural for them to be around humans. I guess that was just how incubi worked. But I was still curious about one thing. Excuse me. All at once, they looked at me. I didn't know why, but having all of them look at me made me feel kind of important, like a queen or something.
What is it, miss?
I want to thank you for the food, but I still want to know why you all came here. I feel like I don't quite understand. Understand? Yeah, like being told that a bunch of incubi randomly appearing in your house was perfectly understandable.
Oh, how do we explain?
We were attacked. We came here to heal. What's so difficult to understand?
Now you're just being rude, Sam.
I'm just saying, how is that difficult to understand?
No, I mean, what specifically happened?
Well, you see, we've been traveling around for quite some time now. Just recently we came into town, but we were jumped by this band of misfits. So, in order to escape and heal, we came here for shelter. Again, we apologize for the mess we made.
It's fine. Oh, what? No,
All thanks
no.
to you.
It's fine, I guess. So, you're all better now, right?
Yup, all thanks to you.
Huh? Me?
You see, beautiful, we feed on sexual energy. But we don't just get it from kissing lovely ladies such as yourself. We can simply touch someone's hand to obtain sexual energy. Everyone carries sexual energy, you know.
This makes me uncomfortable. I hate hearing sexual energy. I hate it. It sounds so odd. I was still in shock about their powers. It wasn't just kissing that gave them power. It was anything physical. No wonder I was out for a while. These incubi intrigued me, but at the same time, I could almost hear a warning siren going off in my head.
Is there anything else you wish to know?
Well, what do you all plan to do now?
Yeah, what are we gonna do now, James?
That is a very good question. We just got here and surely we'll be hunted again if we leave.
We can take him easily.
Not without more training, Sam. The result of that was clearly evident in our last encounter with them.
At that moment, I didn't know what came over me, but I suddenly felt sorry for them. They couldn't possibly survive out there. If they didn't know it was illegal to break into people's houses, they probably didn't know how a bunch of other stuff. They probably would cause chaos all over town. That was really difficult for me to read for some reason. Like, I kept losing my place. That was really odd. Or, on the flip side, bruh. On the flip side, they could be taken in for questioning and be poked and prodded like a lab frogs for research that was even worse. But most of all, they reminded me of back then. I was standing alone. The entire classroom was filled with laughter and chatter, but I stood in the midst of it, quiet and alone. It was strange seeing the whole world pass in front of me with such vibrancy, all while I stood there. On the plus side, I wasn't engaged in any of the drama that might have arisen, like scribbling on someone's paper for revenge or kicking someone too hard. It was kind of nice just standing back and watching things pass by and life go on. I had long before convinced myself that I preferred being alone. I often said to myself in encouragement, yeah, I want to be alone. There's no one I like better than me, so I ought to spend more time with myself. But there was a certain bitterness that, coupled with being alone, made me feel so sad. There was a difference between being alone and lonely. I just didn't realize it at the moment. And even after that moment, my father, my mother, there was no one to turn to. I was so lonely. That's when I decided on it right. That's when I decided on it right then. I was going to see my grandfather. I didn't care if my father wouldn't take me. I was going to walk my way over there and see what he had to say about it. I had never seen him before. I had never seen him before with that. Okay, so that word doesn't even be there. So I had never seen him before that. What better time to see him then? If no one else was going to help me with what I was feeling, I might as well have turned to him. So after school, I decided to walk there. I had no idea how to get there, and I was armed with only a scrap of paper with the address scribbled on it. As a 7-year-old, I obviously had great ideas. I soon became lost, and like I always did, when I felt lost, I just stood there on the sidewalk, back pressed against the wall, eyes looking at the strangers passing by. And like always, people continued to pass by, and life continued to go on. I was sadder than ever. I had ended up in the situation I was originally in. Nothing had changed. I thought that it was silly for me. Oh, okay. I thought that I was silly for even thinking that I could change the things with my own hands. That was until a voice brought me back to reality.
Hun, is that you?
Isabel, is that you? Hun! I looked up and saw an unfamiliar face, but it was obvious that whoever was talking to me knew who I was. And from that moment, things began to change. Life began moving its rusty joints, and I realized that things were moving along. Suddenly, I had become part of the crowd that moved like a blur past me. I was no longer someone who stood still and watched others hurrying past. Life had changed. I had changed. Because the very person who found me that day was my grandfather. I had the opportunity to help them, though. Would I? I wanted to, but I wasn't sure if that was the best idea. After all, 5 demons in my house wasn't exactly the living arrangement I had imagined when I first moved in. There was the matter of making sure no one found out about their powers. Thinking about them as lab rats made my stomach queasy. And even if they passed for humans, how would I explain having guys living in my house? Imagine if my friends came over. They would practically think I was part of a harem or something. You are. Oh God, imagine if my parents came over. I think my mom would faint. Who knows what my dad would do? I think he'd have them arrested on the spot. This was hard. Maybe I should have written Maybe I should have written out a pros and cons list before actually having to make the decision.
Don't worry too much about it. You have plenty of time to decide. Besides, you should do what makes you happy as well.
It was strange that I happened to remember what my grandfather said to me when I was little. But it did kind of make sense. They weren't in the same exact situation that I was before, but I did want to help them out. I think it would ease my conscience and also make me a bit happy. I give them help, as weird as that sounds. Clenching my hands into fists, I straightened my resolves. Fuck, that was really hard to read. I strengthened my resolve to speak up. Well, you could.
What was that, lovely lady?
That is,
Spit it out already.
you could stay with me here if you'd like. As soon as I finished my sentence, the room became still. I'm not sure what went through their heads before my words. The silence in the air cut like a knife until I finally spoke up once more. It seemed like you all needed a place to stay, and well, I just moved into this giant house, so it seems like it made sense. It was still quiet in the room. I decided to keep talking. If you would like to stay here, though, there are 2 things you all need to know. Well, 2 things I need all of you to follow.
Yes?
First of all, You can't use their powers or deliberately do something that might harm me or any guest that comes over. Well, save for enemies. But you get the drift.
That sounds reasonable.
Second, you have to help with the errands around the house. This is kind of big, so yeah.
That is a generous offer, miss. Are you sure that would be okay? We don't wish to burden you any more than we already have.
It's alright, really. I mean, I just started living here myself, so I would appreciate some help around the house.
A wonderful idea. We'll live here and train while helping you with the house. Servants for the lovely princess.
What? Are you serious?
Shh, be quiet, Sam. I haven't slept in a bed for days.
They all seem to like the idea except for Sam. And hey, I didn't really hate the idea either, even if they were all incubi. It would be interesting having 5 guys help me with taking care of the house, given they would follow the rules and given they would follow rules I had just laid down.
Grr, fine, but we're not staying here forever. Only until we can beat up that group of punks.
I think that is a reasonable time limit for our stay.
Yes, this is awesome.
Also beautiful. If you need a bedfellow.
Eric, knock it off.
I was happy that they agreed. Maybe it was because I wasn't going to be lonely for a while. Maybe it was because they all needed help and my want to help people was fulfilled. I would never be sure.
So what are we waiting for? Let's celebrate and dig in.
Finally, I'm starving.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Seduce Me. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're up to the channel before, and I will catch you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.